Star, man. Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all this sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so last week I said, given with the current climate, it's not surprising that news is going to be slow and they're not going to give us any new announcements. And this week it's almost like they said, hold my beer. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm not doing bad. I was wrong.
Right?
I was wrong. I mean, I guess new stuff can happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's, so much earth-shattering news, but there's plenty of it, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, the thing is with news of new Star Wars content, rather,
yeah.
It doesn't have to be earth-shattering
Exactly.
to spark conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just got to be, hey, there's new stuff coming, and everybody's like, oh, I bet it's this and this and this.
Yep. That's us.
That's us. Well, I mean, let's go with, it's big news because it's completely new content, but it's not huge news because there's not much information. So apparently sources at Variety, right, are reporting that there is development of a new Star Wars series for Disney Plus that is being worked on by writer-director Leslie Headland.
Okay.
And it says that details are scarce, but their sources are hearing that it's going to be a female-centric series that will be taking place in part of the official Star Wars timeline outside of other projects.
Huh.
So no overlap.
Right.
Is what I get out of that.
Interesting.
So my gears up there really got turning right away.
Yeah.
I was like, female-centric series, part of the official Star Wars timeline outside of other projects. Could this be a Sabine Wren and Ahsoka Tano series?
Wow. That would be awesome.
Now, then I got thinking, I was like, well, is that really outside of other projects? It's kind of a continuation, sort of another project. But how outside of other projects? I mean, is it other projects that are in development or stuff that's been done?
Right.
I mean, like I said, they give us nothing, and my brain went.
So if this is, just thinking here, if this is going to be Sabine and Ahsoka, I mean, we're going to see Ahsoka, I believe, if all the rumors are to be believed, in season 2 of The Mandalorian. So,
right.
I guess,
Well, that hasn't been confirmed yet. We're just waiting for it to be confirmed.
Yes, exactly. As Rosario Dawson says, yeah, I can't wait till it's confirmed. But, I think if there's a really good reception to Rosario Dawson playing as Ahsoka, I would have to believe that, they might want to run with that,
Well, my thing is this: I don't think they're waiting for a fan base reception to this.
Well, I think they got a pretty good idea of how things are going to go with that.
Because you think about how Mandalorian season 1 went. I mean, season 2 was renewed before season 1 was even done.
Yes.
So they got a finger on the pulse with the Mandalorian on how this is going.
Right.
And they've got a good grasp on it, I think.
Oh yeah.
So I would not be surprised to see a spinoff coming from that. It's separate, and a spinoff is outside of the other project, because the other thing that you mentioned when we talked about this,
yep,
and also came to mind was a Cara Dune series.
Yes.
And I think if they would do a Cara Dune series, it would probably be pre-Mandalorian.
It could be. That would be a really interesting way to go with it too. Because you mentioned her as a Rebel shock trooper, which
Right.
that would be cool to see.
And you take the success of the Clone Wars and getting, down to the troop level, especially like we just got done with the Bad Batch, right?
Right. Yeah.
And how great was that?
That was awesome.
I mean, that was Star Wars from the soldier perspective, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Why couldn't you do a cartoon series, Star Wars from a rebel soldier perspective?
Yeah. I like it.
So, I mean, these are the instant characters that popped in my head, characters that I'd love to see. I really want to know more about. I mean, the Sabine and Ahsoka, that has been one that has been clamored for by fans since
The last
end
episode of Rebels, right? Yes.
Like literally that last episode aired and everybody's like, okay, what the hell?
Yeah. Yeah. We need that.
What about this? We need this.
Yes.
And if the past with Star Wars is any indicator, they hear that kind of stuff, especially when it's as loud as that's been.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, the Ahsoka Sabine fan base is huge.
Oh yeah.
Very vocal, very loud. And even if it was not that story, I would say an Ahsoka project would also be huge. Ahsoka on the Solo, like
Yeah.
that is a character that is just beloved.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, God, I don't know. I could see that working. That's for sure. Ahsoka on her own at some point, like in between all of these moments where we've gotten to see what's going on with her. Yeah.
Like, I think...
Wow. God, you could almost have her like looking for deeper insight into the Force on her own without the Jedi, and almost like Indiana Jones, like Lara Croft style, like, hunting artifacts and knowledge and things. That could,
you got these
work.
gaps with Ahsoka, right? Like these, you've got what happened in between the end of the Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
What happened in between there? I
Right.
mean, we're going to see the end of the Clone Wars here soon.
Yeah.
But we know roundabout where that is in Ahsoka's story. It's not far from where we've already been in her story in the Clone Wars. So there's a time gap there that we would love filled. And then there's also the time after Rebels. What does she do then?
Right.
Do her and Sabine go looking for Ezra? I mean, they allude to that.
Yep.
Does the story go beyond that? Even beyond Ezra Bridger and things like that?
It's possible.
Is Ahsoka alive at the time of the sequel trilogy?
Well,
because Dave Filoni's already adding fuel to that fire.
Right. Yeah, he's saying that just because we hear her doesn't mean that she's one with the Force.
So, he likened Luke here and Vader on in Empire,
Right. So, the one thing that you mentioned that makes me think of something else here is if we get to see Ahsoka and Sabine's adventures in finding Ezra, do we get our live action Thrawn?
Oh man, I hope so. I'm even hopeful of a live action Thrawn in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, it could happen.
I mean, we don't know if, like, at the time of the Mandalorian, if Ahsoka's already found Ezra and Thrawn.
Right. Possible.
I mean, but I mean, I'm focused on that, like female centric series. Like, I think of the characters that are existing. I mean, I guess this could go anywhere from, it says in the official Star Wars timeline. So I guess now that includes the High Republic, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Though we don't have content yet, it is officially announced. It is officially a part of the timeline.
Right.
So we have this huge gap. This could be a new character altogether. Who knows? This may be an adaptation of, like, the Dr. Aphra series.
Okay. Yeah. Could see that.
But I look at the Disney Plus projects that they've started so far.
Yeah.
And the draw to those series, they're using Kenobi.
Right.
Using Cassian.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian's a new character, but they're using a familiar armor to get that allure.
Yes. And it's done well enough in its first season that I think nearly everybody's familiar with the Mandalorian now.
Yeah.
So
I think the likelihood of a new character for this series is slim.
Slim, yeah.
I mean, that's my opinion. I just think that, like, you look at what they're doing so far, I think they're going to use the allure of an existing character.
Oh, I got it. It's the Mara Jade series.
I mean, I'd love that.
Yeah, so would I. But most people would be like, who?
Who the hell is Mara Jade?
Is that Star Wars? Oh, that's too funny.
I mean,
yeah.
Honestly, does it even have to necessarily be Mara Jade? It could be a new character.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
But you name the series The Emperor's Hand.
Oh, yeah. That'd be good. I like
new
it.
character. Don't want to use that content.
Right.
But you can use the title and the position.
Yeah.
So an assassin, a female assassin for the Emperor.
Wow.
That's actually pretty bitchin'.
Yeah.
I could get behind that.
I could as well.
But I feel like, just given what they've put out there for Disney Plus series so far, I think this is going to be an existing character.
Yeah.
And I'm really leaning towards, like you said, Cara Dune or Ahsoka Tano.
Yep. I like it.
Or even an Ahsoka Sabine.
Right.
I don't think a Sabine story on her own would gather the crowd like they would like, just because I feel like Sabine's story on her own would be too derivative of the Mandalorian that's already happening.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. And to be honest, to me, I think, any stories involving Sabine moving forward is going to require some more growth of the character to the point where it's like starting out, I don't think you'd be able to have the draw, for a lot of fans. Not like
Right.
Ahsoka, not like Cara Dune at this point, because Cara Dune is just like, granted, we've only had a few episodes with her, but when there's enough badass right there, people are.
Cara Dune's a super intriguing character.
Yes, exactly.
And without a whole lot there to go off of, we want more.
Yeah.
That character is just awesome. Like, to go, like, the Mandalorians carry a legend in Star Wars.
Yes.
For being elite.
Yep.
And our first introduction to Cara Dune, she is literally at a draw with a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Toe to toe.
Yep. Absolutely.
Even fight. So, yeah, how'd she get that good?
Right.
I mean, it, what rebel soldier in all the rebel soldiers that we've ever seen, right? Let's just throw that out there. Soldiers.
Uh-huh.
How many soldiers have we ever seen in Star Wars that could go toe to toe with a Mandalorian in your opinion?
I can't think of any off the top of my head. I
Right.
mean,
So,
yeah.
automatic notch, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, interesting premise. Interested to see where they go. I think I honestly think if they do a new character, they're going to have a lot of work cut out for them.
Yeah.
Just because it's just not been the mold, right?
Right.
A standalone series around a character that doesn't have something attached to it, like with the Mandalorian, for example, it has that allure because of the legend of the Mandalorians.
Yeah.
I mean, if they would have just said the bounty hunter, I don't think it would have the same draw. At least for your first viewership.
Yeah,
right?
I was gonna say, that might be more of a slow burn, kind of. You know what I'm saying? When you say Mandalorian, that gives you, that tells you what your starting place is, and it's
Right.
like, okay, there's a lot of people who are in already, and yeah, you say bounty hunter, that might that might turn some people off from it, to be honest about it. So
Right. Like we talked about that Star Wars Underworld series. Like you think about that title, right? Star
Yeah.
Wars Underworld.
Yep.
I don't think that gets the draw that the Mandalorian got from the beginning.
oh, I totally agree. Yeah.
It won't get the draw that a Cassian series will get. It won't get the draw that a Obi-Wan series will get. When you have more weight to put behind it, that's why I lean towards Ahsoka.
Yep.
I think if you have an Ahsoka series come to Disney Plus, I bet the numbers would shatter that of the Mandalorian.
Oh, it's very possible.
Episode 1 would be just off the charts.
Yeah, for sure.
Never thought I'd be saying that when I was watching the Clone Wars movie.
Right. Yeah.
But that character is slowly becoming one of the most important characters in the entirety of the Star Wars universe.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
slowly becoming, rapidly
I was
becoming
gonna
at
say,
this point.
Yeah. At this point, she is one of the most beloved characters there is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So it just makes nothing but sense
Yeah.
to have Ahsoka involved. That's what I see.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. They could be going a completely different direction, which if they are, cool, I'll check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you'll have me. I don't know if you'll have the whole crowd I'm talking about. So, all right, we talked about the Mandalorian in all this,
Yes.
and we talked about the success of the Mandalorian in season 1. Even before it was done and
Yeah.
out there,
Yeah.
we had season 2 announced.
Right.
Well, it makes nothing but sense, I guess, that before season 2 is even out,
Right.
season 3 has been announced.
Yes. I think next week they're preparing to announce season 4. I kid.
They might be.
I kid. But yeah. Apparently they've begun for a couple weeks now working on writing and
Yeah, I could see that. Like, yeah, we just got the title for the first episode of season 3 and decided to renew it for season 4.
yeah, exactly. So I do gotta say, let's see. So the statement we've just started pre-production and are looking into further adventures for The Mandalorian in season 3. So the way that's worded, it kind of makes me feel like there's some sort of conclusion to what we've seen so far in season 1 that comes to be in season 2. You know what I mean?
Further adventures.
Further adventures, yeah. So you gotta wonder, is like, okay, we're how we putting it? We're keeping our fingers crossed. We can't wait for the rumors to be confirmed about Rosario Dawson is coming in on as Ahsoka, and then we have the child who needs to, how did the armorer put it? Needs to go to his own people, meaning the Jedi.
Does it mean the Jedi, or does it mean his race?
I'm thinking Jedi, because I got a feeling we're still not going to know what the race is by the end of this.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope we don't.
Right.
That's been a point of contention for me when they introduced this character.
But I got a feeling we're gonna see, the child handed off to Ahsoka or something, and she's gonna place the child with, somebody, maybe, or something, or teach the child. Who knows?
I don't know.
Got a lot of possibilities, but yeah, I just have a feeling that they're gonna be kind of like starting fresh with new adventures for season 3. But
yeah, I would assume you're going to see a conclusion to the current story we're seeing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
I don't think this story is going to be drug out like other stories, and that would be for the better. I think.
Oh, totally.
Finish this and move on to something else.
Yep.
I can't imagine that this character is going to like finish this and become a farmer.
Yeah. Exactly.
So he's going to get himself into some more stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that idea.
But
I hope it goes that way. I don't want to see this particular story get drawn out for 5 seasons.
No.
I don't think that would work.
Right.
But I'll tell you this, I did not expect this series to take off quite this much. I mean, I expected two seasons.
Right.
I didn't expect them to say, season 3.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's the good news. I mean,
that's great news.
Yeah.
I mean, given the shall I say volatility in Star Wars right now with the sequel trilogy and things like that.
Yep.
This is something that everybody seems to be rallying around.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that's good for Star Wars. It's good for Star Wars in the respect of fresh storytelling.
Yes.
They seem to be doing a good job with the fresh stuff. Continuing stories, on the other hand,
Yeah, I know. That's kind of where we're at there. I think you're hitting it right on the head with that. The new stuff, like brand new story arcs, that's kind of been the wheelhouse. I mean, we talked about Rogue One a bit, right? And that's probably the favorite Disney Star Wars film,
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about Rogue One off mic so far.
Oh yeah, sorry, bad memory. But yeah, so I don't know.
I'll say this, and this is something we've talked about in recent weeks about singular vision in storytelling. Right? Yep. We said the sequel trilogy suffered from a lack of a singular vision.
True.
A start point and end point.
Yes.
So far, The Mandalorian has a singular vision.
Yes.
And that is the creative forces of Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I
would say that the series, the rumored series that we're talking about with that Leslie Headland.
Yep.
I think the success of that would be based on keeping her.
Yeah. No,
Let her
I'm
tell her story.
Absolutely. I'm 100% on board with that thought.
I think The Mandalorian is proving that mold, right? You let this singular vision go.
Yes.
So with her, you got to let this singular vision go.
Yep.
You bring in other directors for episodes, whatever, that's fine.
Yeah.
Your writing has to be a singular vision.
Right.
Because
not even so much the writing, but the outline. You know what I mean? The outline for where the story's going, the direction the story's going in, that's where it's got to be a singular vision. You can have different writers and things like that, but you got to have that person who's got the outline, gives that to the writers, and then directors, blah, blah, blah. But the person making the outline, the broad brushstrokes of where this story's going has to be from a single vision.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the major franchise successes in the past, right?
Yep.
There wasn't different writers for the Lord of the Rings. Tolkien did all of them.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, singular vision.
Right.
Let's take Game of Thrones, for example. You had different writers finish up this story because they got beyond the stories of the books.
Right.
And what happened? Kaboom.
Yeah, I hear it wasn't good. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't watch it, but I mean, you just look at the backlash. It tells the story.
Yes.
I mean, there's a singular vision in the backlash.
Yes.
So there's something to be said about, a story being told with one vision, and if you have multiple people involved, they need to be on the same page.
Yes. That's the key.
I mean, look at the success of the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars was run by Dave Filoni and George Lucas. You had tons of writers along the way. You had tons of directors.
Yep.
But you had two people up there. This is our vision.
Yep.
How you help guide that vision along, that's up to you. But this is where we're headed. Our target is episode 3.
Right.
This is where we're at. How we get there is, it's anyone's game.
Yep.
But here's your start. Here's your end.
Mm-hmm.
Tell the story. They didn't have that for a sequel trilogy.
Right.
So when you get into the third film and it's like, okay, who's the big bad? We don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny.
So, yep. That's my hope for the future, right?
Yes.
Like, I hope they learned from that.
Yes, I agree, 100%.
The Mandalorian would say that they have.
Right. I mean, I hope they're going to use that as a shining example as to what they strive for moving forward.
All right. So, the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Sam Witwer has some things to say.
Ah, yes, he did.
We always love hearing what Sam Witwer has to say.
Of course we do. Let's see here. Yeah, he did an interview with Star Wars Holocron. And it was interesting to hear that George Lucas might be liking this final season of the Clone Wars. So Sam says George has been calling Dave and giving him nice little comments on the episodes. I really, really hope we get some positive feedback from the maker himself when this comes out. The show has a special place in George's heart. He was so happy when he was making the show, and we were so happy to be implementing it for him. You really did just get a directive from George, and that directive got got discussed and translated by Dave Filoni, and then it went right to the actors, animators, lighters, everything. It just got done. Yeah. What were we just talking about, right?
I'll be damned.
Yeah. Let's see. That's the fun of watching the Siege of Mandalore, because it just feels pure in its intention. It's so cool that this is the last George Lucas produced Star Wars. The last Star Wars that has George's fingerprints on it. I truly love to hear that George was reacting well to talking about Clone Wars. And I'm happy to hear that he likes how Clone Wars is going so far this season, and I really hope he likes our finale, because that's where it all counts. So, interesting that Dave's actually given, or George has given Dave feedback. You gotta wonder, right? Because you don't know what's going on between all those guys after everything has gone down and everything. You know they're still friends, but you just don't know how much contact they still have and all that. But I like the idea of George kicking back, watching these shows, you know, getting his screeners or whatever he's, you know, got. But, and then shooting Dave a call and letting him know how we felt about the episode. That's just kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, that is crazy to hear.
Yeah, I know.
This is the last Star Wars.
Oh.
It's got George's fingerprints on it.
Well, okay, so the writer of the article here goes on to say, Star Wars, The Clone Wars is Lucas's final contribution to Star Wars. As such, the final episode of Star Wars, The Clone Wars will be the end of an era for Star Wars. Once Lucas's created by and executive producer credits roll by, that will be the end of his involvement with a galaxy far, far away. Dang. Yeah, that one was like, wow. That kind of struck me a little bit. But
yeah, it's almost it's something we've been slowly accepting.
Yes.
But
yes.
This is the gut check moment.
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
That's the gut punch. That's
for sure.
And it is a definitive moment. It's an end of an era.
Yeah.
So, yeah, will there be stories told about characters created by George Lucas? Sure.
Yep.
I mean, we just talked about how we don't think Ahsoka's story's done.
Right.
Ahsoka's a character created by George Lucas.
That's for sure.
But George Lucas will no longer have involvement with anything that happens with Ahsoka.
Right.
The Clone Wars, I mean, this stuff was done. By all intents and purposes. It was done.
Yes.
So his fingerprints are on this. He was involved in at least, you know, storyboards for this stuff.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So whether he's involved in how it finishes, I would guess not.
Well, I think Sam put it out there pretty good, right? You had a directive from George. So when these stories were thrown out into the ether, that was a directive from George. You know, all that was way back then. Like you said, these stories were done, right? For the most part. But then you have translated by Filoni from George to the actors, animators, right? And
Yep.
And that's where the little tweaking can be done. That's where the new stuff happened. That's where, Dave got to put his little, not his little, but that's where Dave can change things around from the way they were to the way things need to be now, knowing everything he knows about the universe. And, but it's still a directive from George that started these episodes. So,
yeah. I mean, we don't know that, like, okay, we know these stories were in the works. We don't know that these stories were the end.
Right.
We don't know if this was the end of the Clone Wars storytelling as a whole.
Right. But
they could have been.
Given where we're at, after, with episode 3 and all, and then moving forward, it is a good stopping point.
Yeah. I mean, there may have been some very tactical maneuvering of certain things from other storyboards into this one.
Yes, could be.
To help make this one the end.
Yep.
But it's so far masterfully done.
Yes.
I mean, the way they are pretty much setting us up for episode 3 to be the continuation from this is really awesome.
Yeah.
So Dave Filoni had some comments on all this as well.
Yes, he did. It's basically a nice segue from what we were just talking about, and it's also, it kind of reiterates something that you and I discussed after talking about what's the name of the episode? Old Friends Not Forgotten episode of the Clone Wars. So, since we were kind of like going right down that path, I figured we could get our confirmation right from the man Dave Filoni himself.
I've always been interested in having the end of the Clone Wars series coincide with the events of Revenge of the Sith. It seemed the best way to bring a shape to the main character's arc in the series. And the film saga tells the story of Anakin Skywalker and his rise and fall and then his redemption. I don't need to tell that story in the Clone Wars. Knowing that, identifying the main characters of the series then are probably Ahsoka and Rex. They're the characters that we don't know about. We see this series largely through their eyes, even though there are many different story arcs. So there was a responsibility to tell the end of their story and then hand off Anakin and Obi-Wan to their proper conclusion, which is in the film Revenge of the Sith. I was in a unique position because I had to explain in a very short amount of time this girl reuniting with her friend that she hadn't seen, and what was that going to be like. I had to serve that story point, I had to serve that emotional content that not just the characters have, but I know the fans at large have as well. But this reunion and then parting, I had a set amount of time for myself to tell the story, to get all the strategy, what's going on across, but also the personal emotional investment between the characters, and that was it. And I think once you're done with that, we move to the next part of the story, which is the Siege of Mandalore itself.
Okay, so what was that from?
That was from Clone Wars Download. It was a YouTube video they put out. It's called Clone Wars Download, about Old Friends Not Forgotten.
Okay.
So, yeah, it is pretty cool video. It didn't have just Dave Filoni. It had some of the voice actors talking about their characters and, where they've been through the years and where they're at now and moving forward, and their relationships with each other and stuff. And it's pretty cool stuff. So be worth checking out.
Right on. Yeah, I like what he said there. He's like, Anakin and Obi-Wan's story gets told in the film.
Yes.
You don't have to tell that.
Exactly.
I like that. That's
it's a stroke of genius to know when to lay off of characters.
Right.
I mean, when you really think about it, because it would be so tempting for a lot of creatives to say, yeah, now I want to play with these characters and set them up in this scenario and that.
Yeah,
and, you know,
and
it would
even
get too
for
much.
Dave, Dave, you think about the Star Wars fan that Dave is.
Yep.
There's plenty of interviews out there. You basically hear stories about Dave kind of fanboying out while in these sessions with George.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's got to be hard to take that level of restraint and not say, okay, I want to put my mark on these characters.
Right.
These characters are, they are legendary.
Yeah.
So to put your mark on these legendary characters, there's a certain allure to that.
Uh-huh.
And to have the restraint to say, no, their story is being told here. I don't need to tell that story.
Exactly.
I need to tell the story of these characters we created alongside them.
Yep.
We created these characters, as supporting characters to these other ones, but along the way have become our main characters of this story arc. So they need their conclusion.
Yes.
And I love that because so many times when you have these characters that are created to be supporting characters for what are your main characters in a story,
Yep.
they often get forgotten.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And they often don't get any resolution. So I'm glad that they took these, like I said, from just a outside perspective, side characters.
Yep.
And they're going to give side characters a conclusion.
Yes.
It's so often overlooked in storytelling.
It is. And I think, you can tell he's not thinking this way, but to observe what Dave is saying about these characters and where they are in the story and how their stories get told, there is a stroke of genius to this. I mean, and the restraint shown is also respect, I mean, it shows that he loves the story of Revenge of the Sith enough to leave it alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really phenomenal when you think about it. And I don't know. I love it.
I mean, and the Clone Wars is special in, many ways because the cast of the Clone Wars is largely responsible for the way Star Wars celebrities interact today.
Yes. Yeah, true.
The cast of the Clone Wars ended up with a certain accessibility and added to their characters, belovedness, right?
Yep.
Just the community that's been created around the Clone Wars is unlike anything else I think we've ever seen anywhere.
Yeah.
Not just in Star Wars.
Yeah. I would say that other franchises are trying to duplicate it, but none have succeeded the way Clone Wars has.
Yeah. The Clone Wars is very special in that sense.
Yes.
Like,
sure.
because I don't think I can't say this for sure, but I don't think the story arcs, the shift to these other characters, I don't think they would have happened without everything that's happened along the way with the cast, the growth of the love for these characters. And like I said, it's largely one, the story was great. Two, the cast is just loved.
Yeah.
I mean, it adds a little more of your love for a character when you really like the person behind the voice.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think their recognition of all of these things combined has made for the Clone Wars is arguably the animated series that doesn't seem animated to a lot of people.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like that. Yeah, for sure.
It definitely doesn't get treated like an animated series. It's more than a cartoon.
That's for sure.
So, yeah, and I'm still on board if everybody else is on board for like a, Save the Clone Wars Part 2. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's stories in the middle there we can still tell, right? I mean, there's
I'm sure
the stuff that became Dark Disciple, right? There's
yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, we never got to see the Ventress Voss story on screen.
Right.
Why not? Right.
That's true. Absolutely true.
So, no, but in all seriousness, I am. It is. This is a bittersweet couple of weeks we are going to be experiencing because we finally got what we wanted.
Yeah.
But it's gonna suck to see it end.
Yeah. Exactly.
and all these people are responsible for that. From Dave Filoni to the cast to George Lucas. It truly is the end of an era.
Yeah, for sure.
Have something to add to the conversation? Or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. All right, so if you are a hardcore Star Wars fan and you have not yet checked out the Clone Wars, it is officially time to get your head checked.
Yeah.
Because, dude. Wow.
Yeah, dude. For sure.
So we are talking about Season 7, Episode 10, The Phantom Apprentice.
Right. This is part 2 of the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah. I venture to say this is probably one of the best episodes of the Clone Wars we've seen so far.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And that's bold.
It is bold, but
that's bold. I mean, but
it's true.
It's true. We talked about with this arc some of the things we were going to be seeing, which was, stuff like Ray Park's doing mocap.
Yeah.
For this.
Oh my gosh, that was phenomenal.
And you can tell.
Yes. That's the thing. Even in the animation, I'm watching Darth Maul move, and it's like, oh my god, that's Ray Park. You can tell. It's amazing.
And it's not only like just that, but it's like, it's Ray Park. You told him, how Darth Maul is now.
Yep.
So you got old Darth Maul mixed in with this, like, Darth Maul who can't use his legs quite as well.
Right.
I mean, it's subtle, but it's there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just, and I'll tell you this, I think Ahsoka was mocapped as well.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Just by watching, because Ahsoka's movements were just as fluid.
Yes.
And just as realistic. So
Yep.
I'd love to know who did the mocap for Ahsoka.
Yeah, I know. Oh, man. Wouldn't it be awesome? I know we're not going to see this, but yeah. To see Ray Park and Ashley Eckstein, like, in mocap suits, like, rehearsing this stuff. Oh, my God.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That would be amazing. I know that's not what we're going to see, but...
I venture to say, though, that there was a martial artist doing this.
Yes, for sure.
Just the movements, they were so fluid.
There were little things that made it look like for real to me. And that was like Maul's elbow to Ahsoka's face, that kind of thing. It was like all those little subtle movements, like as soon as the elbow hits the face, the head whips back, her head whips back. It's like, that was like real stuff. That was the kind of stuff that we were seeing Ewan McGregor and Ray Park doing, it was, oh my God. It was amazing.
And then the other thing too is it was strange because the lightsabers had a strange effect in this. It was strange but cool.
Yeah.
The way they kind of tracked,
Right.
Almost kind of streaked across with each swing, and it was super cool.
Yeah.
A little different. Almost seemed like it was kind of there to remind you that you're watching animation.
Yeah.
Because that was the only thing that really seemed animated in all of this.
Yeah.
I mean, there were serious times in this you had to take a step back, like, whoa, these are cartoon characters.
Exactly.
They don't move like cartoon characters. Even down to when they were walking on the beams and trying to keep their balance while fighting. I was like,
oh yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
They're like, it's crazy because this is like a hard episode to not sit here and just fawn over.
Right.
But the way they were having to try and keep their balance was just so ridiculously cool and ridiculously realistic.
Yes. That's the thing about it is, you said it, you could like lose yourself in the episode where you're, not even considering it being animation. It was so fluid. It was so good. I mean, everything about this episode was awesome. So Darth Maul, like right from the beginning, you start to wonder what his game is here, because we pick up right where we left off from last episode. Ahsoka has her lightsabers lit. He, the clones approach, and he engages Ahsoka with the lightsabers, but says, "Not yet." It's like, what's this all about?
Yeah, that was odd.
It was.
And intriguing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what, why not yet?
Right.
What are you waiting for? And then you're thinking, like, is he waiting for the clones to turn on her?
Right. Well, that's what's fun. Oh, yeah, let's get into that. He takes an ARC trooper, Jesse, right? And he does the Kylo Ren Poe Dameron move on him, and it's kind of like reading his mind, and but just prior to that, he's talking about the plan, right? And clone troopers, bred to fight and all part of the plan. What plan? The plan.
Yeah, emphasis on the.
Yes. But he's clued in on Sidious's plan. In a way,
I'm surprised he's as clued in as he is.
Well, so am I, but I think he's got like, I don't know. He's got so much hate going on that he's really in tune with the dark side,
Oh yeah.
I mean, and you can just start to see little glimmers of the insanity that we're going to see later on down the road in Rebels, right? Because when he mentions Sidious's name. He gets that little. It's almost like a, not a chuckle, but like his words are choked up a little. I mean, God, Whitwer was awesome. It was.
Yeah, he's like torn up
Yeah.
by the fact that he's been cast aside.
Right.
But in a weird way, is kind of laughing about his success. Like,
Yeah.
like, see, you can't stop him. There's like a respect, but a disappointment.
Oh yeah. And what's amazing to me is he's got this tuned in, like Sidious's plan. He's got it tuned in to where he's thinking about it, and he'll say, it might be starting. And
Yeah, the way he was like watching his watch,
yeah,
throughout this, like, oh, it's coming
yeah.
any minute now. It's all over.
And we got a perfect placeholder for where we were at from Obi-Wan.
Whew.
And I got to tell you, I just got to throw this out there. After watching the last episode, I actually so I watched it on Saturday with the family, okay? Last episode. And I just asked the family, like, where Anakin and Obi-Wan went off to, right? They're like, no. I said, okay. Then I turned on episode 3. I said, let's just watch the beginning so you understand where they left and went to. We ended up watching the whole movie because that's kind of how it works, right? But
It's a good movie too.
yeah, and Lo looks at me and says, I'm glad we watched that because now I understand where we're at. So
Yeah, and then you get this week, and you're getting, he's off to find Grievous.
right, and that's what she was talking about. She understood what all that was all about. She needed the reminder. It's all like chiseled into my brain, but
Yeah.
So-
It's easy to go, what, you don't know?
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we could not even watch Revenge of the Sith before this, and he says, I'm on my way to find Grievous on Utapau. And we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I know where we're at.
Yeah. Well, it's just like the trailer for this arc, right? Where Mace says, I sense a plot to destroy the Jedi. And it's like, oh, wait, whoa. Everybody recognizes this.
Yeah. Coming next week.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we're running right alongside
yes, right alongside
Revenge of the
episode 3.
Sith. Like,
Yeah. So speaking of, there's the score for this.
oh, man.
My God. So foreboding. Just
Yeah,
eerie.
Kevin Kiner's outdone himself.
Yes. And
Unbelievably good.
there's a specific point in Revenge of the Sith that I'm going to call not my favorite part of the movie, but it's the one I call kind of like odd to me, right? And this is the part where Anakin's in the Jedi Temple in the council chambers, and
Mm-hmm.
Padme's at her place, and they're kind of like just going back and forth, and there's this low underlying, just dreadful music. The music reminded me of that
Mm-hmm.
in many parts in this episode, and it's like, wow, I wonder if we're tying in here. And there's another thing that makes me kind of think this. During the lightsaber battle between Ahsoka and Maul, Ahsoka kicks Maul off from on top of her, and he flies out the window, right? Leaving the dual lightsaber marks on the wall.
Yeah.
And then she stands up, and there's a look on her face and she's kind of breathing heavy. I'm wondering if that was the moment. Like, if that was the moment she felt something happen. You know, maybe.
I don't think so.
Okay.
And the reason I say maybe it was a vision of the future, but I don't think we've gotten to Order 66 yet.
Well,
I think we're still pre-Order 66.
I agree. I'm wondering if that was the moment maybe Anakin took out Mace Windu. You know what I'm saying? If that was, if she could feel that moment where, you know, he was being tortured by something and, you know, internally and acted on it. I'm not sure.
Or maybe not quite acted on it yet.
Okay.
Maybe she feels that building.
Right.
I don't know. We need another marker here.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, we are going to have that other one.
I'm assuming we'll get one.
We are going to have that other one.
Yeah.
That I mentioned earlier that we saw in the trailer. So, you know, probably right.
Well, yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Yep, you're right. So, okay. But
there's still probably something building there.
That looked more to me than just exhaustion. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. There's also that shot down.
There might just be an overarching dread gripping the galaxy that she's feeling.
Yes, and the Prime Minister actually mentions that Maul is feeling this as he's talking to Ahsoka and Bo-Katan.
And through her conversation with Maul, she may be becoming more in tune with that.
That's possible.
And she even, like, she's ready to join Maul.
Yeah. Yeah.
She obviously felt something. There's something going on.
Yes.
You know, that the Force is foreshadowing enough for her to go, okay, I'll help you.
Right. Because, yeah. She feels enough of something in the Force to know that. But
she just couldn't believe that Anakin was the focal point of that.
Right, and that was the deal breaker for her.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that was I don't know. I mean, Maul is like reading the tea leaves so well here, you know, about everything that's going on, even down to Anakin becoming Sidious's new apprentice. But that's the line that she couldn't cross.
I mean, all she has to do is look down in her hands. She's got these lightsabers.
Yeah.
That were just given to her.
Yeah.
By Anakin.
Yep.
This guy who's so just compassionate towards her.
Yep.
Towards everyone. She couldn't see this coming from him.
Right.
You know, she sees compassion, not passion.
Right.
You know,
I think it could have part of been the way he said it, right? That Anakin has been how do you put it? He's been not trained, not brought up to be, but he's been groomed to be Sidious's new apprentice for a long time now, and she's been by Anakin's side for a bunch of that time. So how could she possibly believe that? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that is a moment of like doubting if her fighting Maul is the right course of action here.
Right.
Like maybe he's right.
But
I don't know.
It's crazy though. I mean, and knowing now what Maul figured out, this has made that character like exponentially better. I mean,
the Clone Wars as a whole,
yes,
has been doing that for a while.
Yes.
And this episode, I mean, you said it yourself. That rage.
Yeah.
But yet, that understanding.
Yep.
I mean, he might be a little more convincing if he wasn't so full of rage.
Yeah. He was.
But then to see this character that we've seen so full of rage throughout his entire arc since his defeat at the hands of Kenobi.
Right.
To see this character that has been so full of rage extend his hand.
Yeah.
To a former Jedi, but to a light sider.
Yeah. Although, so I think this is what he got out of Jesse, is what happened with Ahsoka, because he brings it all up later on, right?
Oh, it's total manipulation.
Where you're right, yeah. Where he says, you were cast out of the order. She's like, no, I left.
Yeah, but you left because of the hypocrisy and
exactly.
But he's playing that you were cast aside just like I was.
Exactly.
We're the same.
Yes.
We were thought to believe we were part of something bigger, and they just threw us away like garbage.
Right.
I just thought that was not something I saw coming. And more so, every time I see a Darksider extend their hand, it's like, join me, become my apprentice, do this.
Yeah.
This was it felt a little different.
It did.
It felt more like Rey and Kylo Ren.
It felt like that a little bit, but I got to be honest, I was more convinced by Maul than I was Kylo.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
Maul, but see, Maul is, there's a little more conviction behind it.
Yeah.
He wants to stop Sidious.
Yes.
And she calls him out, like, so you can take his place. Well, yeah, sure. I mean, that's semantics, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Yeah. But hey.
But it's a different avenue. Like Maul's arc is about survival.
Yep.
At this point, like, he's just trying to stay alive.
Yeah. Oh, he's trying to make a place for himself in the galaxy, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But
he knows that in a Sidious run galaxy, once Sidious achieves his goal, if Maul shows up again, he does not get a pass.
Yeah, exactly.
It is over for him.
Now, I've got this popped into my head as I was watching when Sidious took out Savage Press, captured Maul. He said, I have plans for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is even this part of Sidious's plans?
Well,
I think it might be.
Yeah.
Because he needed somebody to deal with Maul. But
not only did he need someone to deal with Maul, let's take it one step further.
Sure.
Let's assume Sidious has seen every possible outcome.
Right.
He don't need Ahsoka showing up.
Exactly. Because that was the other thing, right? So when Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were talking, Obi-Wan says, you need to call him.
Yeah.
You need to call and talk to Anakin, because Anakin's not doing well right now. Well, it certainly appears as though Ahsoka doesn't get the opportunity to do that. And maybe she could have talked Anakin down off the ledge. So Maul was the distraction to keep Ahsoka away. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like conducting 3 orchestras at once here.
Because if anyone, especially given Anakin's distrust in the council.
Right.
So Ahsoka is in the same boat.
Right. She understands that.
She understands that, but she comes at it from a more rational perspective.
Yes. Yes.
And if anyone in the Star Wars universe could have talked Anakin off the ledge, it is Ahsoka.
Right.
And I think that is, you given their history, given the respect and care that Anakin has for Ahsoka, yeah, this is the one character that could throw a monkey wrench in Sidious's plan.
Yeah.
You know, Kenobi's not it. He already has distrust. Kenobi went to him with this order to spy on the Chancellor.
Right.
And Obi-Wan already... Hell, we know it. Obi-Wan wasn't the character to turn him around in episode 2.
Yeah, exactly.
He's holding me back.
Yeah.
Done. This is not the guy to save the day.
Exactly. Yeah. Obi-Wan definitely wants to do the right thing, but he's going to play inside the rules to do the right thing. You know, whereas Ahsoka says, you know what? I don't like those rules. I'm out. But she's still doing the right thing. You know, it's...
Right.
Yeah, man.
You know, maybe the Phantom Apprentice, maybe the title's not about Maul.
Right.
You know, the Phantom Menace was foreshadowing the, you know, this hidden character that could change the course of the galaxy.
Yep.
The Phantom Apprentice, Ahsoka's this character that could change the course of the galaxy.
But not there.
But you got to keep her out of the picture.
Exactly. Ooh. Man. I'm getting goosebumps here.
I cannot. I mean, I cannot wait for next week.
Oh, I can't wait either. Oh my God.
And one advantage that came of us coming to this last arc, we didn't know the titles for this arc prior.
Right.
They did not release the titles of these episodes, at least for the last 3, until this week.
Right.
So the next episode, Shattered. I mean, we can only speculate what Shattered means, but it's not going to go well.
No.
You don't call it Shattered and everything comes out good.
Yeah.
And then last week we got to talking about the Ahsoka novel and things like that, and speculated about things that might happen in this arc. The last episode is Victory and Death.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not or.
It's not or.
And it I can only believe what you read right at the beginning of the Ahsoka novel is, you know, it's going to be some overlap there is what I'm thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I'll tell you what. We started this season with a hell of a bang with the Bad Batch arc.
Oh yeah.
And we talked about then, like, man, how do they come out the gates like this and expect to, like...
yeah, keep up the momentum? Oh, my gosh. But here we are.
Here we are. I mean, these are the first 2 episodes of this arc.
Yeah.
Stuff's going to do nothing but get more intense.
Oh, I know.
I mean, we gushed over the lightsaber battle. We didn't even really touch on the battle between the clones and the Mandalorians. And
that was
phenomenal. When the other Mandalorians joined the fight.
Yeah.
I mean, all of it was spectacular. Such a grand scale.
Yeah.
I mean, those wide shots of the battle were nuts.
Yes. Absolutely.
And if we didn't have that lightsaber battle, that battle's what we would be talking about.
Yeah, for sure. You talk about shots.
The elevator shafts with Bo-Katan and Gar Saxon.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
Yep. That was good.
This episode, wall to wall, was just, like I said, we can't help but gush over this.
What about the shot of Maul and Ahsoka where the window blows out?
Oh,
that was a phenomenal shot. I mean, you're talking camera angles and what was happening. At first you're thinking, oh, this is slow motion. And it's like, wait, no, it's not.
I mean, I thought about like, so you think about everything that had happened in that episode to that point.
Yeah.
And then what you felt was coming. You see that scene and you're like, now you're just showing off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it was good. And, feel free to show off.
That's how you have a moment of contemplation. That's how you do it.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, they just showed the force at work right there, right? Like, yeah, unbelievable, wall to wall. What a great episode! If you didn't love Ahsoka before this episode, you do now.
I was gonna say, I think everyone did, but they just gush over her now.
Yeah. I mean, what a great character. What a great series. We're not done yet.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's hard not to just be excited about this and just absolutely thrilled about where we're heading in the next couple weeks, what we've gotten so far, and just thankful that we're getting it at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have brought back the Clone Wars and just given us some, Clone Wars episodes.
Right. No,
they are raising the bar for what Star Wars animation can be. And what is the final season of a, honestly old Star Wars product.
yeah, really. Yeah. That's for sure.
And this is a show that changed animation.
Oh, without a doubt.
And it's doing it again.
Yeah.
That motion capture stuff.
Oh, man. For sure.
I mean, it's revolutionary.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure mocap's been, I'm sure. Mocap's been used for animation and stuff like that in the past.
Yes.
Never like that.
Not like that. Exactly. That, I don't know. No other way for me to describe it, but it was just awesome.
Yeah. Mind blowing. Out of a series that we didn't think could blow our minds quite the way it did back when it came out, right? Like,
right. Yeah.
It proved we're wrong.
Yep.
And they can still keep raising the bar.
That's for sure.
I mean, this is not just raising the bar for animation or Star Wars animation. This is raising the bar for Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like this, I don't know. It's not technological improvements for technological improvements' sake. It is incorporating new technologies and things like that in order to make the story better, which it does,
but it's also at the same time not just technologically and visually, but story-wise and everything is taking the Star Wars we know and ramping it up.
Yes.
So they're raising the bar for their very own product here. Like,
yeah. That's the thing. And Sam Witwer alluded to this. Actually, Eckstein alluded to this. This arc right here is elevating the quality of episode 3 as well. I mean, wouldn't you agree? I mean, this is...
Yeah.
I don't know. This is like just phenomenal. I don't know.
Like I said, and just not just episode 3, but the Star Wars story as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, they are raising the bar and actually making it harder for the game going forward. You know,
Right.
like you're making some kick-ass stuff here.
Yes.
And I understand they had to have known they had to do this.
Yes.
This is a beloved product. The Clone Wars is a beloved product.
Oh yeah.
And if you're going to bring it back, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to go for it.
Do it big. Yeah.
And they've gone for it.
For sure.
Whether like I said, whether all this was written beforehand or not, I don't think if these episodes came out back when the Clone Wars was in its prime, I don't think they looked like this. I don't think they sounded like this.
Agreed.
They stepped up their game for this.
Yes. Yep. I think there's no doubt.
If there is a definition for a swan song,
Right?
this is it.
This is it.
This is how you go out, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
It's unbelievable what they're doing with this season.
Agreed. Speaking of swan songs, like we said before, this is going to be George's swan song for Star Wars. And I think the Lucasfilm Limited, old title card at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just Dave's little nod to George saying, hey, thanks, and this is for you kind of thing.
Yeah, you did this.
Exactly.
You're responsible for this.
Yep.
Thanks for letting us play in this.
Right.
Yeah. And Dave's love is coming through.
Oh, for sure.
So his love's our love.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, if you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. It's the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on social media. We're at The Wars of More on Twitter, facebook.com/thewarsofmore. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsofmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right. We'll talk next week, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.